Hello and welcome to another episode of Association Transformation. I'm once again flying solo this week. Well, I'm flying solo in terms of hosting. My good friend Elisa is off traveling the world somewhere. So we miss you, Lisa, and we look forward to catching up on next week's episode. I am, however, of course, not completely solo. And in fact, this week, rather than transatlantic, I've once again gone trans-Tasman. And I'm delighted that joining me from tomorrow, actually, because when we're recording it, it's actually Wednesday night here and Thursday morning in Brisbane. I am delighted to be joined by Angela Shelton, who is the chief executive of Association. I'm sorry, Angela. I've already messed it up. Angela Shelton Answers for Associations, which is a free online community for association professionals. Hello, Angela. It's lovely to see you.
Hello, good morning. And I love that we're recording this in the future for you.
Yeah, yeah. This is or more appropriately in the past for you.
I feel like we're tapping into the Back to the Future, one of my favorite movies. So there you go.
There you
Perfect
go. And,
start.
and see if Elisa was on this pod now, she'd already be thinking about how we would be doing the graphics for this episode with like Marty McFly and Doc Brown and all that. But she loves all that nerdy stuff. So I'm sure when this goes out, you be prepared to see you and I as Doc Brown and Marty McFly. But
I love it. I
oh,
cannot wait to see this now. Maybe it'll accompany my next article.
well, look, it's
Oh.
lovely to see you. It's lovely to have you on the pod with me this week. Why you're here because we've invited you on because you're one of the authors in the association's Evolve 2023 journal, which is a fabulous publication. And in fact, before we started recording, we were just chatting about it and, how I routinely, and we laughed because we've both got copies in front of us. But, I love it. I use it all the time. We talk about it a lot on the pod. We've had quite a few authors join us on the pod. But I really, when I read your article about creating meaningful connections in a digital world, I I love it because it really got me thinking how awful I am at making connections in the physical world, never mind in the digital world. And so, and yet, as you rightly say, it's a brave new world. It's 2023. We're almost at the quarter mark of the 21st century. It's all about digital, isn't it? Everything's about digital.
It 100% is. And when you were saying I'm one of the authors, I'm sitting here going, yes, but trying to define what I wanted to write about, because I look at what my passion is, but then because we are publishing this article, I'm also seeing everyone else's articles coming in. So I'm sitting there trying to justify, is this a good talking point? And it is really difficult to go through that process, but you have to just dig deep and go, what is it that I'm really passionate about? And creating meaningful connections in a digital world is 100% me, because I'm one of those people, I'm either all in for digital or I'm all out. And it's
Okay.
one of those, it's like, how do you balance that out? Because we get so busy, caught up, living and working, and digital just merges the two worlds, and you have so many different communities around you. And
Mm-hmm.
I just really found that I had come across a few different careers. I had so many digital connections spanning so many of those careers that I had to sit down and go, am I really connecting with these people? Like, am I still relevant to them? Or are we still just friends because we went to high school together back in 1998 and we're still friends 25 years later? But why are we still friends? Why are we still connected?
I look at I well, yeah. Why are we still connected? I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm thinking, yeah, actually, yeah, I've got whatever it is, not three, four, 500, whatever it is, connections on LinkedIn. And if I'm honest, I mean, I do go through them now and again. I'm thinking, I don't even know half these people who I'm connected with. So what's the value of it? What's the value of that connection? And I think that's a big issue for probably lots of people is, what is the value that we're generating from being connected? Is it just to collect followers, or is it to have? Is it to have a meaningful impact? Is it better to have like 5 people you're really properly connected with, or 500 people who are, curiously interested in something you might have to say once in a blue moon?
Yeah, I mean, there's such good points. And I feel the best way to look at that is to, when you say I've got 500 connections, I think I've got like 11,000 connections on
There
LinkedIn.
you go. There you go.
So,
Well, I want you to know that all 500 of mine are valuable to me.
and that is amazing. So I often I go through and I try and I review them. I want to say annually, but I know I haven't done it in a few years because I've just been so busy connecting with everybody. Because coming out of the pandemic, people really started embracing the whole digital connection. But I felt like it was we're connecting because something was missing from our lives. And it was about how do I reach out to as many people as possible so I still feel like I'm living in the real world, even though I'm quite
Yeah.
segregated. And we can all relate to that. And to be honest, a lot of people can still relate to that because a lot of businesses haven't gone fully back into offices. Some people have just chosen to stay working from home. So right now, I would really say it's a great opportunity to sit down and go, you know what, if you've got 11,000 people, the reality is there's a lot of people on there that probably are just there because for the sake of it. But when you define your why, when you go out with your messaging on LinkedIn, whether it's creating a legacy, it's educating people, and for some people, it's raising your profile so you can help better share the word of what mission you're wanting to put out into the world. I tag people. It's as simple as that because of those 11,000 connections, I know that at any one time, only a certain amount of people are going to be interested in one particular message. So we tag them, we bring them into the conversation, we get them involved so that they can contribute because that's where you start to really build depth on those conversations and those connections. Is that something that you find yourself doing?
Well, yes, but I think the LinkedIn algorithm hates me. I mean, Lisa and I joke about this on the pod a lot. Although she's joking, I'm just quietly crying because I don't know. I think the algorithm. I tag loads of people all the time on like when I'm talking, and on LinkedIn, but we're also talking on Twitter and whatever the new one is called now. I can't remember what the new Twitter is called, X or something else.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm forever tagging people, but I never ever seem to get any traction with anything. And no, maybe I'm just saying the wrong thing.
Is it the algorithm?
Yeah, maybe it's I know. Ouch! Ouch!
I'm
Oh,
joking.
oh my God! It's like
I'm
an
joking.
Australian version of Elisa. My God! Ouch! But it's
Oh
true.
no, am
No,
I
it's
going to be
true.
invited back?
Oh, never again. No, but it's like it's true actually. Am I saying the right thing or the maybe not the wrong thing, but am I saying the right thing? And actually, when I think about how associations are, understanding and valuing their connections, how they're exploiting, technology, digital platforms to connect with not just with their members, but with the wider community. I get a sense that we're perhaps being quite one-dimensional about it, that we're just using it as a marketing tool, revenue generation, membership recruitment, rather than using these digital platforms or indeed our own internal digital platforms, communities, or forums, that we're not really, associations aren't necessarily using them to stimulate discussion, to connect people with their association as well as with each other. Is that fair? Am I seeing that? Am I maybe
It
seeing
is
that through
fair.
jaded digital glasses?
No, not at all. And this is where I talk to really showing your true self and how you interact online because people want to know who you are. They want to get to know you. Like, what are your commonalities? And you could be in the same industry, you could be working in the same association, you could be talking to your members, you could be marketing to bring people in. But the simple fact is, if you're not showing who your true self is, people are finding it harder and harder to engage because there is just too much happening around them. They need a reason to come back, be grounded, and go, okay, when I put a post out, and this is where I was joking with you before, Andrew, when I put a post out,
you quickly hasten to add.
no, and I tag someone, I ask myself, why am I tagging this person? Is it just so I can get them to share my post so that I get more viewers? Or am I going to form a question and tag that person so that I'm properly asking them to engage with my content? And that is the difference. And you really need to be clear on what it is you're putting out there, because some of the times it is just purely marketing. It is just profile raising, whether it's for yourself or for your organization or for your products. But you need to be really clear on that messaging.
But it strikes me then that, if we just use LinkedIn as the example, because it's the one that is explicitly business focused, and every membership body, I'm going to argue, but most membership bodies have got that LinkedIn profile, and I've got a community of sorts, whether it's groups or whether it's a page, dedicated. They've got followers, they've got members with whom they are connected. I don't see many associations using that free resource. It's a free tool, and yet I don't really see them using that to engage and to get those conversations going. As you say, sometimes it's just straight marketing. We're doing this, sign up for it, it's great, you should do it. That's fair enough. But I don't ever really see many associations using these public digital platforms to really stoke debate, prompt, poke the bear, prompt, dialogue. I don't see it. And part of that, I wonder, and I don't know what you think about this, but I wondered, and that was, are they afraid? Is the association afraid to demonstrate its character publicly? We're not. I mean, obviously, what you say about individuals is spot on there. Unless you show the real you, people might not engage. But actually, maybe people don't. What if people don't like the real you? And I wondered if there's a fear that if an association, puts itself out there, that it'll somehow have a detrimental impact on the organization.
All right, it's an interesting question. I mean, you've nailed, that first part of what you were talking about. Choose the digital platforms that are going to add the most value to where you are right now. And if we're talking about LinkedIn, I mean, there is a legacy that sits with LinkedIn. It's a business community. People expect you to come out reasonably corporate style. So when you talk about adding personalization or adding a bit more interest to a business post, whose personality does that become though? Because that business doesn't have a personality. Well, hold on. I mean, we could start delving into AI. Like if we went down the AI pathway, and I know you got excited then, and we said, this is the tone of voice that we use for the culture. So for example, you might have a medical college, maybe they've got a very professional tone, and maybe we go into a trades association, and we know that they're got a completely different tone, probably a lot more friendly. So if you look at it from that perspective, if you then took that style guide and then you pop that into an AI and you actually got them to then be the physical body of who you feel your association organization should be, that then gives you an opportunity to personalize it and give it a tone of voice and make it more friendly when it comes out through LinkedIn. But right now, it's just someone in marketing who is putting together a script and they're pushing it out.
Yeah.
But that's where I feel it's really important. That's what we do at Answers for Association. So when we distribute information through our business page on LinkedIn, it has a reasonably corporate tone to it.
Yeah.
But I have a very, very personal tone. I mean, I love using the word love, and I realize in business maybe it's inappropriate, but that's who I am, and I'm not going to shade any of my personality when I put posts out into the community. So when I put something through the Answers for Associations profile, I then reshare it and I add context to it. I add my personality. So I'm adding depth to what was already coming out through the business. I feel like that's a really nice way to create that tone of voice and bring people in, particularly if you're at that leadership level. People are going to take more notice and feel, well, if the CEO is talking like that and they're, bringing their business profile in, maybe that's the culture that they've got internally. So that's an interesting way for some of the organizations to be looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, but perhaps I was using the wrong phrase, because I think associations do have personalities. I think businesses do have. Maybe perhaps personality is that's the too human element. But I think they do have character, which is born out of culture, and you're absolutely right. I think it's driven. It shouldn't be driven by the marketing team. It has to be driven. Well, arguably, it has to be driven by the board. But it needs to reflect the membership as well. It needs to reflect the membership and the world that they are working in and their professional expectations. I understand that, but okay. So I'm still not sure though. I hear the recipe. I do. I see that you've mapped it beautifully, but I still am thinking, what else is it that's stopping associations really, frankly, putting themselves out there? Why not stalk things up, mix it up? Why not put themselves out there a bit more? Why do you think they don't do that enough?
I think this is an absolutely loaded question, but incredibly relevant. Because straight away, I'm going to say to you, it's legacy. Associations, to a certain extent, have always been the way they are today because of their predecessors. And we know that leadership teams come and go, not as often, but each leadership team creates an impact on the brand. It influences the culture. And I think we're seeing a lot of associations starting to shift towards showing themselves a little bit more, but it is still very professional. And if I be really honest with you, I just feel like it's legacy. They just think that business is business, personal is personal. I'm happy to be corrected on this, but that's just my take on it.
I think that's a fair point. And I think you're right. I think, yeah. So by legacy, you mean tradition, or we've historically done things this way, because you're right. People do, I think, wrongly. I agree with you. I think they wrongly equate personable as not being professional, which is so wrong. It's so wrong. But then maybe that's why I don't have that many clients at the moment. I don't know, but no. But seriously, because I think we've spoke. I can't remember what episode it was we were recording, but I remember us talking about there needing to be more humanity coming out of our associations. That actually one of the ways to drive connectivity, one of the ways to drive community, is to stop talking about community like it's some abstract, ethereal concept that's floating around over there, but we're the association here. It's to start really, positioning the association with a far more human face, far more human voice. And I would argue that surely would, that would drive a lot more sort of engagement. So that from the membership. So I'm not just looking at my association as, right, well, that's the association putting out this week's newsletter and it's just stuff that they want me to know about. But actually, here's the association putting out an article and asking a question, challenging it, think about something. Because I feel sometimes the associations are not fulfilling their potential, and certainly not realizing the role that I think they have to play in terms of stimulating the debate. I don't know. I mean, in Australia, you guys are so laid back, you're horizontal in Australia. So, I mean,
there's no afternoon siestas here.
What time is it now with you? It's like, what time is it?
It's 7:33 a.m. in the morning.
It's almost
So
time
it's
for
early.
lunch. It's almost time to kick back and get the barbie going. Exactly. So why was it 7:33? Now I feel really good. Well, yeah, okay, it's 10:33 here, 7:33 there, right? Feel really bad now. Um, so yeah, but in Australia, are the associations, yeah, are they more personable than I think they are
Yeah, look,
in the UK?
it really depends on the industry. You look, you can't try and compare medical to the trades associations. They're so different. What I heard someone say not more than 6, 12 months ago was how associations are now looking to, and I'm speaking more specifically to the Australian space,
Yep,
is
yep.
that they're looking to redefine themselves holistically. So rather than going, Andrew, you're just in charge of sales, Angela, you are just in charge of marketing, and then everybody knows their very individual roles. Right now, what we're seeing is that no association can operate without all of those teams internally talking together. Membership is no longer a standalone, and your events are no longer standalone. So therefore, there has to be this really clever strategy, a really clever conversation that goes on internally. And this person then went on to also say, so the beauty of this is that everybody then gets to add their personality to the organization, to the way that they see information should be distributed. And so this one particular association, I actually can't remember who it is. I'm going to look it up and I will come back to you on it. But it gave them all opportunities to share the company profile. So they all had an opportunity to actually go out there and put their personalities into the way that they would share information from their perspective within the business. So a membership person is going to come in it probably from a very more friendly, warm value perspective.
Mm-hmm.
An events person is going to come in and go, this is going to be really exciting, like high energy, like let's do stuff now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was incredible because I went and had a look and went, oh my gosh, I'm really feeling this. But it was coming out through the company space, not just their individual profiles. So could you imagine how that then changes the complete tone of voice of the organization, how people from the outside are looking and going, wow, that place has, got lots of energy. They feel really warm. It was amazing to see. I have goosebumps telling you this because I just find, and that is what you're seeing. It's slow, and I hope other people hear that and go, oh, let's try that. But it was fun to watch.
So basically, everyone is taking on a communications role, albeit integrated into their job, into their wider portfolio. So, but then does that make the marketing team redundant?
No, not at all. I'm talking about one random post here and there. I'm not talking about every single day. It's talking more about that internal collaboration. And okay. I am a big advocate of collaboration, whether we're talking about it from our internal teams being able to work more cohesively with a joint goal. And I know we talk about that now, but it's really getting them to collaborate, like properly talk, understand their individual journeys, how they twine together, how they affect the organization, as opposed to how we're also doing that externally with other people. So no one becomes redundant. In fact, everybody becomes more empowered. They become more engaged. Everybody learns to value the role that they play in the organization in a far more powerful form.
And become interdependent on one another to make for success to happen. It needs for all elements of the team, all elements of the system to work. Okay, that I love that you got goosebumps, and then you said, "Well, that's just a couple of posts." I always thought you were talking about like some massive overhaul. I can't even imagine what it would be like if we were talking about the whole organization.
Every marketer out there right now is going, don't listen to this podcast. It's a terrible idea. No, not at all.
No,
it's talking about empowerment.
Yeah.
It's, when you walk into a business and someone says, everyone's a salesperson in a business, because we are. You think about it, no matter what we're doing, everybody is selling to a certain extent. We're just not necessarily out there saying, buy my membership. We're selling in different ways. It's no different to marketing. Everyone's a marketer. Everybody wants to connect, engage, but they want to do it on their own terms, because we then need to look at different personality types.
Yes.
And, it's a really nice way to get people engaged who may not otherwise feel comfortable getting engaged.
And we just use different language for it. We use, you're an advocate, you're a supporter, you're a vociferous, friend, whatever. We just use different language. But absolutely right. It is, we're all out, and we all have a responsibility for it. No, I love that idea. I do love that idea. I don't even know how we got into this. I love this. This is no longer just about digital connections. Now we're talking about organizational overhaul. I don't know how we got here.
I told you I'd go off topic, but look, in all seriousness, it is digital. It is still connected to digital, because it's how people put themselves out there. But I feel like going back to the point of showing your true self, what you do internally in a business, and you're being able to put that out to the digital world, like, it's keeping that connection together. It's making sure you're always being authentic, because we've had such an amazing opportunity over the last 3 years to learn authenticity, because people have been able to understand how they want to operate and engage with the world. Because the pandemic quite literally said, if you don't want to come back into the office and you're amazing at what you do, I'm going to keep you, but I'm going to work with you and look at how you work best, how you work most efficiently. I mean, it's no different to our Gen Zs coming into the industries. They're not necessarily wanting the highest paycheck, they're wanting balance. So it's about looking at how to engage those people so that, we can really have the best teams around us, keeping that culture together. And that's the culture that we can then put back out into that digital space. People get to be who they truly are.
What happens if you work in for an organization? I'm playing devil's advocate, because I love that. I love authenticity. I love it. I love just, I love the honesty of it. And I think it's so important for business to succeed, but for you to succeed as an individual. I think it's so critical. But what if you work in an environment? What if you're working and you want to be authentic, but you're being told you've got to toe the line, as it were? You've got to, how many times have we heard, you're representing this organization? In fact, I was in a briefing. I was in a briefing session once where somebody felt obliged to tell me that, remember now, Andrew, that you're representing the organization. It was at a conference, and the conference was in the hotel was in the conference center, were connected. And that includes when you walk into the elevator, Andrew. I'm thinking, what the hell do you think I'm going to be doing in the elevator?
Now I want to know
that I need reminding that I'm representing this business. But how often have we heard it? You've got to present a certain facade, if you like. How do you argue or push back against that? How do you demonstrate that that's not necessarily the right way to go?
Oh, look, and I'm going to be controversial with my response to this.
Please do. Oh, I love this. Right, love this.
Okay. I worked in corporate for many, many, many years, and I look back at that time, and I had people have those conversations with me as a very young adult, and then, sort of 10 years on for that. And I had the same thought. Why are people reminding me that I have to behave? Like, am I a naughty person? Am I doing things that are really inappropriate? I'm looking back going, no, I never had inappropriate conversations, never did inappropriate things. But it's the way we've always done it. People have a perception of how an organization or a business is perceived. And when you have a certain level of leadership that falls into that space, it creates a toxic environment. So I left. I went to quite a few different places that all have that environment, and I left. And I then officially left corporate about 15 years ago. And I can cross my heart right now and say to you, I will never, ever go back into corporate. I love working in small business. I love the not-for-profit space. It's absolutely amazing. And I think it's industry-based, because if I be honest, looking at the corporate space, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of amazing businesses out there. I'm talking to my experience.
Yeah, of course.
But coming into, say, for example, the not-for-profit space, already you're seeing completely different leadership. You're seeing different people coming into this. They're bringing different personalities. They're bringing a lot more humanity. There are some that still have that mindset. It's always been done this way, and it's a challenge. And they're the ones where people go, you know what? I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's why you're seeing a lot of people, and that's why I referred earlier about people wanting to work from home. They're wanting to have 9-day fortnights. They're wanting to forego a pay rise of XYZ if they can have a better life balance. And if they're not getting those things from where they're working, they're naturally going to shift to an environment where they do feel valued, that they do feel like they can have a voice and be a part of that bigger picture. And I can honestly say we have seen so much of this in the last 3 years. The pandemic, once again, has given people the blessing to understand who they are, who they want to work with, how they want to engage in the world. And a lot of them have just jumped up and gone and done it with no regrets. And it is so refreshing.
I'm waiting for you to say the controversial bit. I'm listening to you thinking, this is all making sense to me.
It is, but there's a lot of people out there that will go, you can't just automatically assume that corporate is this, and and just because we've done it all that way doesn't mean it's bad. Look, it's not. There are a lot of people who will go, I'm happy to conform to that environment. Someone like me, I am too big, too loud, too exciting to conform to that. And I never will. And for anybody who is in this place of limbo, I would say sit down and look at what it is you actually want and go and do that. And there's no right, there's no wrong.
You heard it here first, listener. Angela's telling you to resign and just hang it all. Just don't worry about those bills. Just go. Just walk away. You heard it here first.
When you put it like that, Andrew, it's now we're controversial. Oh, I'm going to jump off our chat today, and I'm going to have a few messages sitting in my.
We're going to have this is probably be our most popular. The peak. I can see the peak in listener numbers just there. Going, what? Oh my God. I'm truly inspired by Angela. She inspired me to just leave my job.
No, I'm talking about being authentic. For me, being authentic is every step of the way. I think I do not know how to not be authentic, and I have offended many people over my years because of that the brutal honesty. And it's exciting. It is really exciting to understand who you are and what you want and go and chase that. And it is everything that you will see from me in the digital space and in person. I've never surprised anybody yet.
So let's talk. Let's finish off by saying, right, okay, so I've heard this. I'm not resigning from my job. I've decided I'm staying put for now, but I do want to be an authentic me. I want to nurture those connections I've got. I want to maximize my digital impact. I want to influence and positively influence my community. I want to have that kind of meaningful digital connection with the people with whom I'm connected. What do I do? I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, right, okay, I'm not resigning. What else do I do?
I love this. Look, my top tips are, and we've already spoken about these, but just to summarize them, when you're being authentic, choose your space. whether it's the digital space, it's the work environment. Choose the space and make sure you're adding as much value to where you are right there and then, and being authentic. Show your true personality, particularly through your digital profile. People want to get to know who you are. And if you're representing your business through your business profile, then show that personality there as well. Make genuine connections. Make sure when you connect with somebody, you're really showing them that you're interested in properly learning about them. Everybody hates getting those random LinkedIn connections, with no message. I really struggle with that. And if you send me one of those, I'm sorry, but I will decline you because I want to know what it is we can do together. And that's that offering that real value. Don't just sell your products. Make an introduction. Ask them, how can I help you? Can I introduce you to someone in my networks? This is one of my favorite quotes, and I did include this in my article. You're the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. And this was from Jim Rohn. I first heard this when I was probably about 27 years old. And sometimes you hear things and you resonate, but you keep going back to it and you're reflecting on it over and over again. And if I look at my life from where I was 20 years ago to today, it is the absolute truth. It's about surrounding yourself with people who make you feel good, allow you to be authentic, who add value to your life because you naturally embody that and push that back out into the world. And this is where people thrive the most. And this is where people find their spaces in life and where they connect with organizations. They're able to connect with members, sell themselves in a really authentic manner that I would like to hope they can look back on, in later in life and go, wow, that was an amazing journey. That's what I would recommend for people.
Well, thank you so much. On that inspirational note, I have nothing additional to add. I think that's a fantastic way to finish it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the conversation we've had. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It really was.
I hope our listeners will too.
Well, those they'll have more time on their hands now that they haven't got a job. So they can listen to it over and over again. But no, seriously, that was. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for getting up early. And what I will say is that the future looks pretty bright from where I'm sitting. So, thank you very much indeed. And actually,
my pleasure, Andrew.
Before we wrap up, Angela, where can we find your answers for associations? If I want to go online, take a look, where do I find you?
Oh, head to www.answers.net.au. It is an online community for association professionals. Jump in, create your free association professional profile, and just start talking with us. Let us know what you're looking for. We're easy to find.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, I've enjoyed that. I hope I know our listeners will enjoy it as well. I know all 2 of them will. And remember, wherever you're listening from, we're available on Amazon, Google, Spotify, all the usual haunts. Add association transformation to your favorites so that you don't miss an episode. Angela, thank you once again for your time. And to everyone else, until next time, please remember to put your members and your mission first.